Ah, we're back. Well, I'm back. Just making sure everything is working correctly. A little bit of technical problem. Don't know why there was a technical problem, but apparently there was. Something to do with YouTube is not receiving enough video to retain a smooth streaming something, and audience are buffering, which is not good, but I'm hoping that will improve. For those of you who might be able to hear the vacuum cleaner going in the background, I do apologise. It will disappear eventually. I have closed my door, which is meaning I'm going to sweat a lot. But that's alright, get rid of the plugs. And we will get started. And we are probably going to wind up talking about monsters while I do this thing. We're still on the tendrils, but we'll get it done. Hi, welcome to How to D&D. My name is Fred Wheeler, and today I'm not necessarily talking about Dungeons and Dragons, although I'm quite happy to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. We are continuing making a cheap D&D miniature, and it's the Roper. So this is part 4, and I've already done quite a bit of work on it. We've done a couple of the tendrils, about 3 and a bit, and we've got 2.5 left to go, and then some basic structure to build around it to make it look a little bit more interesting. And then eventually at some point, probably not today, but at some point we're going to give it some teeth so it can bite and chew and consume, do all sorts of nasty things to your adventurers. So this is what we're copying. We've got 6 tendrils rather than 4, as I've said before, using the Citadel sculpting tools, which I've already got out, and we're using milliput because milliput's just cheaper and it's a pretty good product, really. I do have some green stuff, but I probably won't be using a lot of green stuff unless I absolutely have to. And I've got my pliers, which I'm going to be using very shortly to twist and adjust the position of my tendrils because they are driving me nuts. And I've got a crafting knife, Stanley Classic, just in case for doing some adjustments as I need to. So right now, I've already had lots of fun trying to get these tendrils to work out. This tendril I'm not so worried about. This one down here I am, and I've decided I'm going to change the position. So I'm twisting it up and gonna sort of maybe straighten it out a little bit in places so that I can get at it, and also to make it easier for me to actually put the putty on, because it was in a really bad spot, and I was thinking, yeah, that's going to just cause me a whole lot of trouble. So I'm going to go up more than round and twisty, well. But basically, that's the gist of it. And by all means, you can chat in the chat box while we're live streaming, while we're doing this, because I will talk. I will until my voice cracks, disappears. We're going to mix up some of this putty. It's very hot. The door is closed, so I'll mix up small amounts. And that way I won't have to worry about having to work too fast, hopefully. Maybe I'll do a little bit less than that. Roll that out, make a little ball it up, just like so. Grab the other stuff. It's been an interesting day. It's threatening to rain outside, but it's not raining. Nah, not going to happen apparently. It's just going to get muggy instead. I was looking at some of the monsters in the monster manual in terms of things that I would make. I already talked about trying to do the mimic, which we'll do at some point. A whole bunch of different mimics, oozes, and I'm kind of interested what people think in terms of the tactics of monsters, because I've only seen one website that sort of covers tactics, and I'm probably the only one who's really covered monster tactics in video form. So I was kind of curious if anybody wanted to talk about monster tactics, because there's plenty of different monsters out there, all of which I feel are absolutely fun as, but I mean, how do you use them, how do you play them? And I was going to talk about the piercer, because one of the things about the Roper is it's a more mature version of the piercer, which is something that sort of hangs from the ceiling of a cabin and drops down, and basically it's like a falling piercing bomb. It really can't do very much once it hits its target. It's not really good at doing anything else after that. But I thought it was kind of interesting that it is a It's basically just a immature version of the roper. So yeah. Has anybody used piercing or piercers in their game? I know I have a couple of times. It's quite an unusual creature. And out of all the creatures, I didn't read through clearly enough and have a good hard look at the piercer in terms of how it operates. But yeah, this thing is weird. It doesn't really have legs. It's not really suitable for moving around. It's got a terrible speed. It's got a climb speed of 5, and it moves on the ground at 5, so it's not getting away. If it doesn't do its business, it's over. And it clings to the ceiling of a cabin, loves large sort of subterranean passageways, and yeah, it just hangs there waiting for something to come by, dropping in the silence to impale unsuspecting foes below on the ground, probably only to find itself unable to do anything else after it falls and getting killed. That's kind of how I think the piercer works, which is kind of a shame. You know, it's a monster that doesn't really stand a chance. It's really got to do all of its damage in its first hit. Otherwise, it's done. It's done and dusted. That's it. No more. Anyway, let's squeeze up this putty here and get it attached to our tendrils. And as I said before, I'm quite happy to talk about anything relating to Dungeons and Dragons, for the players, Dungeon Master, monsters, making stuff. We've been talking about all sorts of things in the last part 3. We talked about heaps of different things. It was good. Lots of interaction. I was quite happy with that. I realised that 2 streams in one day is a little bit unusual for my channel, but I feel like there's a lot of interest in seeing this completed. So I'm trying to speed up the process just a little bit, just to get it done. Okay, alright, sausage making time. So just roll this thing over a few times. Hang on, just so you can see what I'm doing. There we go, like so. And then pat it out. Flattening, so we got something to wrap around the tendril. Oh, we've had an outbreak of little black crickets, and they're growing absolutely everywhere. Well, not growing, they're breeding everywhere, should I say, breeding. And I can see the cat on the deck right now, having a great time trying to eat them and play with them. I had, like, the whole bathroom was full of them last night, and they were jumping around all over the bed, getting through the window, flying around. They're having so many, just heaps and heaps. Alright, let us just squeeze that on, and it might be just a bit too much putty, but we'll have to figure it out. Get all the air bubbles out, squeeze it in, shift it around. I feel like that's worked out slightly better than it could have. And I do apologise if my fingers get in the way, because I'm just trying to squeeze the putty around the wire to get the air pockets out, which is always the trickiest bit, which I've said like I don't know how many times, but it is. Yeah, putting putty onto wire is always really tough, but we'll get there eventually. It's just about working it in, working round and round and around until all little pockets are gone. A patient hunter. Can you imagine being a piercer yourself? Like, I'm just going to wait here, when somebody comes along and I sense them, I'm going to drop on them. They have dark vision up to 60 feet and blind sense up to 30. I don't think the blind sense is going to be very useful to them, because if they're hanging from the ceiling and it's a cave, unless it's a very low hanging cave, they're not falling very far, are they? Anyway, let us blend that one in. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm trying to go for the the easiest sections first. Is that cheating? Yeah, maybe. But I just want to get it done. Get it done. Get it fixed. Where is this other little round tool here? There we go. Oh. Oh, what I wouldn't give for a fan right now. There we go, good. Okay, got that on. Just clean off that. Grab another piece and make my sausage. Making the sausage, flatten the sausage out. So once a piercer hits the ground, how long does it take to get to the top? If it survives and it kills its victim? A long time. It's probably why there aren't that many ropers and it's kind of a rare creature. How many piercers do you think survive the initial encounter with some creature that comes along? I don't think there'd be many actually. I think you'd struggle to find too many ropers that have developed from a full-fledged piercer, unless of course you're sort of right deep in the underdark. Pardon me, drink of water. Oh man, it's like the lurgy's coming. I hope it's not. I don't really feel like getting sick. Well, not that anybody does. Yo do 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 do. Mixy mashy mashy mixies. Blendy wendies. Come on. Where's that tool? Oh no, I had it before. Alright, I just need to clean that off. I've got my sharp blade, so we'll just scrape it. Okay. It's kind of important to keep the putty off the tools because they don't work quite as well once it's on there. And yet again, I have forgotten to bring something useful to wipe off the excess putty that I might have been accumulating. Alright. Where am I supposed to blend? It's pretty much done its job. Okay, there we go. Fantastic. The other tendrils that I've been working on, they've all but, you know, pretty much started to go hard already. So they're starting to get reasonably solid. Okay, sorry about that. I keep forgetting. I got to make sure I position it so you can see what I'm doing. Otherwise, you just get a big handful. Back of my hand's very helpful. Shot to a channel and watch the back of my hand. All the little hairs growing. If you pay attention, you may even see the sweat pouring down me. If I know, now that's disgusting, isn't it? I'll stop. Right. I have been told that I don't know when to quit. I come from a family where toilet humour is quite normal. That's a monster we need. We need a toilet monster. A monster that lives in the toilet. Although I suppose you could say an otiog is something that would live at the bottom of a long drop if it was a big enough long drop. If there's a big enough space at the bottom. Okay. Alright, let's roll it out again. And then, well, I think I'll just halve that, make it a little bit easier to work with. Alright, so wrapping from that side, I think. And just work it in, get rid of those air bubbles. I did a video about toilets in Dungeons and Dragons, and it was a video in jest, although I was kind of being serious about the fact that there didn't seem to be toilets in Dungeons and Dragons adventures as a general rule, until I had played an adventure called The Lost Mine, not The Lost Mine of Fandelver, it was The Mines of Madness, which is kind of based off I believe it's based off a comic book or a comic strip, and it was created by Chris Perkins and what's the guy who plays Benwyn Bronzebottom in Acquisitions Incorporated. So they created that adventure, which I thought was like awesome, but it was very much made in jest, and it had a long drop in it. I thought, well, that's perfect. It's the first time I've ever seen a toilet included in the adventure. And so, of course, I had to explore it. Because if there's a toilet in an adventure, that seems like something to explore. Who knows what could be down there? Alright, so we're getting along pretty well. It's not too bad. Progress is good. Squeezy wheezy and wrap it round. Oh, don't you break on me. Don't break. Squeezy wheezies. Come on, you. I like it once all of the wire is covered, because then it's so much easier to work with. But while it's like soft and flexy, it's just a pain. Now, for those of you who are wondering why I do not play music in my live streams, if you haven't been in my live stream before, it's because would be royalty free, which isn't much good. You're better off listening to your own music if you don't want to listen to me talking. And yeah, I think that's going to be better for you, rather than listening to some other copyrighted material that I could run on YouTube. And stroking down. Just joining it is the trick, right? Trying to get it to join. And I don't mean join in matrimony, I mean just join the putty. Join it. Ah. The chat is very quiet. I am alone. Home on the range. But I'm alone. Yeah. Okay. Alright. It's that one. And do another roll. Roll it out. So I don't think, out of any location for a piercer who grows into the roper, that positioning themselves down as anything other than something hanging from the ceiling would be a good idea. In fact, I don't quite understand why a roper would be on the ground full stop. It doesn't move very fast, and feel like disguising itself as something that's up high is like always going to be the best option. Oops, come back to you. Just get this bit on first. Squeezy wheezies, get the air bubbles out, just like that. There we go. Working it in. So you'll notice that the roper so far is mostly just sort of smooth. It doesn't have any protrusions on it that look like a rock. So we're going to fix that eventually. I'm going to add more putty and build it up a bit. Just so that it looks more like a rock formation, because it should look like a rock formation, right? And I like the idea of using an existing terrain piece, stalagmite, stalactite, whatever, and just adding tentacles and then an eye and a mouth. I think that's a good idea. Right, let's just blend in those surfaces. Right, so like that. Then back to the finger to get rid of all the marks. Just the texture on your finger is, you know, the print of your finger is perfect for just getting rid of tool marks. No, the piercer kind of reminds me of a flounder. I don't know if you guys know what a flounder is. It's like a flatfish and hangs out in mud flats. And it really sort of only functions one way up. But it kind of reminds me a little bit of that. The only difference is that flounder lives in water and a piercer would hang from a ceiling in a rock cave or cavern. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. There we go. And grab my little tool. I'll just move it more into the center, sorry about that. And we just smooth that over, just like that. Where is it? I feel like I've lost where I started. There we go. There we go. Another bit. Let's just blend that in. And then back to the finger. There we go. Cool. That tentacle is coming along nicely. It is time to mix up some more because I used it all up. So that is, I don't know, probably enough. Just like that. And there. Oh, that's too much. Take a bit off. Maybe a bit too much still. Take a bit off. Feel like that's about right. Good. Cool. That's how I figure out how much I need, is just balling it up and then comparing the two balls to see if they're basically the same size. I'll turn that around so you can see the front. So we've got one more tentacle to do, and the ends of 2 tentacles, and that'll be the tentacles done, which is good. I'm glad. And then we can start building up the rest of it. I think what I will do with this is I'm definitely going to build in some inconsistency, so the shape of it won't be too symmetrical. Oh dear. What a weird creature. The fact that it's got a reach of 50 feet and reels in its target 25 feet. And then it's munchies time. Or drop them to their death and eat them later. So I was watching Dragon Talk, and for those of you who are wondering, I think I've already mentioned it, but for those of you who were wondering, sigil or sigil was definitely mentioned, and I think the 9 hells are definitely going to play an important role in the Mordecai's tomb of foes, or tome, not tomb. Although actually I would have enjoyed the idea of an adventure book called Mordecai's tomb of foes. So everybody he's currently disposed of, that he's buried in one location, and they all decide to wake up for whatever reason, some dark magical force, and then suddenly you've got to contend with all of Mordecai's enemies from the past that he's dispatched. That'd be pretty awesome. Probably not suitable for low level, but still awesome. Okay. Alright, let's do the sausage rolling time. And then flatten it out. Okay, so what have we got here? Break off that little bit. Yeah, you can tell I'm definitely trying to avoid that last tentacle, which will probably be the hardest to do, right? I can't help myself. It just looks so tricky with the little wiggly, squiggly bits in it. It's like a corkscrew on a roller coaster. It was always difficult to go through the roller coaster on the spiral twist and twist as it was. Now I've got to try and deal with a tentacle and put putty around it. Okay. Well, I used less that time, and it was actually quite a lot easier to get all the air bubbles out. It's just going to be blending it without breaking through to the paper clip. Okay, let's just pat it a few times, blend it a few times, use my finger a couple pats to get rid of the little marks. Have a look underneath. Too bad. Okay. Ha. Yeah. You know, I feel like what I should have done is I should have figured out how to make the tentacles on the wire before I attach them to the body. Just to make it easier. Easier just to get to them. I think that would have been a smart move. Of course I didn't do that. Instead I attached everything and made the armature before everything else. Okay. So out of all of the campaigns that I've run, I think the most fun I've ever had was a campaign called the Umbra campaign. And the reason it was so much fun is because the players decided they want to be circus performers. And I ran them through an adventure which was actually for the Pathfinder game, but we were playing Dungeons and Dragons 4E. I know people don't like Dungeons and Dragons 4E, but that's what was being used at the time. And I used a Pathfinder game, and they decided that they liked the idea of helping out the circus so much they wanted to actually join the circus themselves. And I never actually got to finish that campaign, but the whole story behind it was they spent their time looking for animals, wild beasts and creatures that they could include in the circus, and eventually into the zoo section of the circus, which is, I thought, was a really clever way of building a team. You know, we're circus wranglers, we're animal wranglers. It was great. Hi Joseph, how's it going, man? Welcome back. I am, as you can see, I've got most of the tentacles done. I am just trying to deal with the last one, which of course will be the worst because I've been avoiding it. But hey, that's how it is sometimes. I'm not trying to do the easy stuff. Yes, I am. I'm trying to do the easy stuff first and lie. I just wanted the easy bit first, but I've got no choice now. I've got to deal with it, and somehow I've got to wrap around this piece of wire on top, stay on top, and then I don't know, spatula around the sides, and then just a crafting tip. It's alright to have a roper with only 4 tentacles. You do not have to have 6. Okay, it will reduce your workload and your hassle quite a lot. How's it going, Mel? I posted my roper video to your first part of this. Okay, alright, cool. I'll go watch that later on. I enjoy watching your little videos showing off your stuff. It's great. You do realise, Mel, that even though you're recording your stuff on YouTube, as soon as I see it, I'm definitely going to post it to Facebook at some point because it's really awesome. Won't highlight you. I'm sure that the Facebook authorities will not be able to discover where you are. Mainly because they don't like anything that's been posted to Facebook that's from YouTube anyway, so they avoid it like the plague. So you should be safe. But your videos and your little craft jobs, which have been really good, have sort of highlighted that actually I should keep doing this. Which is why I'm going to keep doing it. 1, it's fun, and 2, it is getting other people to do stuff, and it I feel like it will help alleviate some of the stress of trying to buy your own when they're so expensive. Alright, what's that, Mel? I took your advice and only made 4 tentacles. Yeah, I think the 4 tentacle idea is the best way to go, man. The 6 tentacles like I've done, it's just so hard to get at everything. Looks kind of cool, but it's just tricky. What's that, Joseph? Do you think will be new spells in Mordecai's Tome of Foes? Yeah, I do actually. I think that we'll see a couple of, I wouldn't say a lot, but I think we'll see some more spells in Mordecai's Tome of Foes. Because he's a wizard. It would make sense to include some more spells that are related to his name. I don't think we'll see anything that isn't listed as Mordecai. I think it'll only be spells that he specifically has got associated with his name. I don't know what those spells would be, but I think that's a very likely possibility. What's that, Mel? Definitely keep doing videos. My wife wants you to make videos on doing chores and home repairs in hopes of inspiring me to move on that. Well, I have Wheeler Workshop. I haven't posted any home repairs or handyman stuff for at all. I do have a whole lot of stuff I'm supposed to edit, because with a channel that's smaller, I can't go live. So, you know, Wheeler Workshop is one of those channels where, one, it doesn't make any money, and two, I can't go live, so it's a little bit more difficult. And it's also based on when I have time to do my own stuff, which right now I have plenty of time. But yeah, I'll bear that in mind, Mel. I've got to make sure I put some more videos up on that. What's currently requiring attention in the home? Let me guess, your wife gets upset because you're always on YouTube watching it while you're doing your little miniature making and your prep for your games. Delete. So that is surprisingly coming along quite nicely. Okay, cool. I'm just going to use my finger. Pardon my big hoary hands as I try to just squeeze the putty into place and get rid of some of the marks so it's not quite so prominent. I'll get my fingers and my hoary hand out of the way in a second. Come here. I think I should open the door again because I'm starting to, I'm going to pass out otherwise. Too much heat. The vacuum cleaner's finished. I need to actually get the vacuum cleaner into my room. Clean it up a bit more. I did my washing. I need to do the vacuuming. Okay, right. Just hold on a sec. I'm just going to open that door. Oh, that's nice. The front door's open as well. That's awesome. Drink of water. Oh, that's almost an entire glass just went down. Okay, right, let's make some more roly-polies and get that tentacle done. Oh boy. Geez, time flies now. It's almost 40 minutes in. Doesn't feel that one like it's been that long, but clearly it has. Time is just flying. I could never do these miniature craft builds as a pre-recorded. Just wouldn't work out. I don't know how DM Scotty and all those other craft channels go. I mean, there's so much time that must go into prepping and checking that everything's going to work out fine. So you can hear those are the cicadas. They are singing. I was digging through the garden a while back when in the wet season, the wet season in New Zealand's most of the year, but in in winter, and I found these funny little cocoony things. I didn't know what they were, and then I read up, and they were the little cicada, what do you call it? Well, whatever a cicada is before it hatches into a cicada. And it just looks like it looks like an anemone, you know, one of those things that goes in your backside, and they're brown, and they got funny little ridges on them, and I didn't know what they were initially, but yeah, I didn't realize they could sort of survive and last in the soil for ages, like a really long time. And then of course they hatch out, and you've got a cicada making a heap of noise. Alright, that's that done. Make another roll one, roll it over, roll it over. So yeah, back to this campaign I was running called Umbra. So they were animal wranglers, the party, and they decided to go to an island that was renowned for exotic beasts and creatures and dinosaurs. And I ran them through the Island of Dread, or the Isle of Dread, which is a fairly well-known and famous adventure, and they had a ball. And we ran that adventure for such a long time until eventually they decided they'd had enough. It dealt with pirates, primitive tribes, obviously dinosaurs, dragons, and of course in the process they're not trying to kill these things, they're trying to capture them. So can you imagine trying to get a rock egg down a mountainside? You know, you take out the rock, which was difficult for them to do, and I think they did that while Dungeons and Dragons was in its infancy in the alpha playtest process. So I just threw the rock at them. I had no idea how difficult it was going to be for them. I knew it was going to be hard, and I just made a point of not being a complete, well, not being really cruel and dropping them all to their deaths off the side of the mountain. And then they had to try and get the rock egg off, and then when it hatched, they're trying to figure out what to do with it. Baby rock, trying to get it onto a ship. It was very, very funny. And then of course having to deal with the father rock, who was circling trying to find its baby. And I believe I put at the center of the island, I put a dragon, a red dragon, which they decided to antagonize. And I led them, eventually they came back across this particular dragon. But yeah, I like the idea of the animal wranglers. It was inspired. Still had to contend with the occasional, so is there any gold on this monster? And I was like, do you really think it has pockets? Well, maybe it's got it inside its gullet. Every single thing they captured, didn't matter what it was. Does this monster have pockets? No, it doesn't. Can I cut it open to see if there's if it swallowed anything? Dear. I mean, that's not to say that monsters don't necessarily swallow things and they stay in their gullet. I'm sure they do. But it was pretty funny. Okay, now I just need to smooth over that tentacle. Just like so. And there. And the good news is I'm almost finished with the tentacles. I could make them a bit bigger and thicker if I wanted, and I might add a little bit to the ends of them, but not today. I feel like messing, let's get into that last little bit there. Messing around with them too much right now is probably not a good idea. Joining the seam, join the seam, put my finger behind it. Haha, I got it. Right, this is patted out now with my finger. Okay, alright, so I feel like this is a little bit weird here, so I'm going to just attach a bit more to the side of its mouth here and just build that out a little bit and blend that in. So I'm probably not going to run this stream for too long, much longer. I'm probably going to go for maybe an hour at the most, maybe just over an hour. So we've got maybe, what, 13-ish minutes left before I'll be off, and I'll have to go and post the, do all the metadata for the videos, the streams, and obviously go and check out Mel's video, which should be a lot of fun to see. Looking forward to it. Okay. For those of you who are in the room, in the live chat, honestly, I'm not as scary as it might seem. Just a normal guy. That is almost done. We're just going to get that to join a bit, and then pad that out a little bit with my little tool, and then maybe I'll just use my finger because that might do a better job, because that is just looking really flat and weird. Let's just get my finger in there. My finger on there. Okay, alright, roper. Now I need to sort of make it more sort of stony, and give it some bits that don't look quite so like an ice cream cone with tentacles, because right now it kind of looks a bit like an ice cream cone with tentacles. So there's a round ball, there's one. How's it going, Nottingham? It's the martial arts training. Yeah, maybe. Could be. Martial arts training assisted me in putting putty onto little bits of wire. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's really going to help me an awful lot, but. Alright, Mel, think you'll be doing the teeth this go round? It's drilling the holes and gluing the teeth in, I don't know. I don't think so. I think what I'll do is I'll try to just go with building the main sort of structure of it, sort of give it a bit more of a stony-ish look, because right now it doesn't look very stony, and then letting everything sort of harden up properly before I start drilling and putting teeth in. I feel like now that the teeth should be the last thing that I do, rather than going into it too soon. I think that's how I'm going to work it. But I mean, the basic structure as it is done. I mean, the tentacles are done. I've just got to tidy up and finish up sort of the top and give it a bit more of a more stone or stalagmite, stalactite feel. I'm sure I can do that. I just need to get some putty on here. Oh, okay. Blending, blending, blending. Okay, alright, so let's rip that off. And small balls. And I'll add small balls to this. And we'll build up some jutting out bits in the top. That's probably the key place that I need to have them, is in the top. I'm so lucky I've got this existing roper to sort of try to duplicate. Thankfully for that. So let's put that there and square off. No, it's not working. Let's do this. Just got to join it on before I do anything else. Just join it on. No, I'm not giving my roper a hat. For anybody who was wondering, it's not getting a hat. Just looks like it's a hat. It's not a hat. It's not. And just need to. Flatter surfaces. I feel like that's not working quite as well as I want to use this instead. Okay, looks a little bit odd. I'm going to just sort of angle it down a bit so it's a little bit imperfect, and then we'll add another one. Something that's jutting off to the side. Sorry about the fingers and the hand in the way. Sure, I should know better by now. Done enough of these videos, right? And there we go. Get my little flat plastic tool. I need to clean that off. It's not doing the job I want. Okay. So see if I can. I'm having trouble sort of blending it to make it look like it's part of that. Steel tool out again. Let's try that again. Whoa, okay. And I'm going to put a piece there. Blend it in. Whew. Oh man, very warm. You can hear those cicadas just going for it. Super loud. The weather is starting to clear, that's probably why. Okay, and now flatten that down. So I'm gonna just try to make it as irregular as I possibly can. Alright, and I've got 4 more of these things. I'm going to try to put them in locations that'll make more sense. The back end I'm not worried so much about. I'm kind of treating these like pimples. Yeah. My roper has developed acne. He didn't take his doctor's advice, and now he will suffer. Maybe he's just a teenager, just gone from piercer to roper. Okay, cool. That's that done. Good. And now, how do I do this? I think this bit is going to be less flat and more curved. Oh. Now, not everything coming off here needs to necessarily look super flat. Remember, it's can have some different shape to it. There we go. Here is a, whoa, that was weird. Is it buffering? Hopefully it's not buffering. Alright, there we go. We seem to be working again. Yeah, Mel, the milliput does stick to dry milliput. It will stick. Sometimes it's a little bit more difficult than other times to get it on, but it's actually pretty good at attaching. Just got to work it in a little bit, that's all. So far it seems to be working fine, which is good. Okay, let's get this in here. And flatten, let's use that steel tool. Just got to make sure that you do actually join it, just like you would with your clay. Like so. There we go. Alright, let's cover that. Alright, 2 more pieces. Joseph, hear a cat in the background? Yes, you do. There's definitely a cat in the background. Did I go offline twice and the frame rate dropped to my... Yeah, it's looking a little bit weird. I feel like the connection is falling apart just a little bit. I do apologise. Maybe streaming twice in the same day was a bad idea. Could be, might be that. It's just after 3 o'clock, so the kids will be coming back from school now. They'll be trucking away down the pathway, making their way back home. Okay. I can already hear some of them. Okay, let's tidy this up a bit. Let's get this plastic tool again, clean it off. Go. There's lots of drop-offs. Might not not be possible to keep the stream going if it keeps going on like that. I might have to stop early. It'll be good when I finally get fibre in the location. It'll make a big difference. Fibre would be the answer. Hero of the Brines. I wish I could do that. Yes, you can do this, man. Trust me, it's not as hard as it looks. It's really, really simple, really. Nothing to it. There we go. And one more piece, and then I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so how do I want to do this? I feel like I should have mixed up more. Yeah, Malleus, you're right. Yep, just try it. Just give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? Okay. Wedge that down, wedge that down. Well, I'm not super happy with it. I feel like I should do more, but for now, I think that'll have to do. I think this is where I need to call it quits before my internet goes completely bananas. So yeah, we'll come back to this some other time, and next time I'll probably be putting the teeth in, drilling holes, putting teeth in. I might do a little bit of more puttying in some locations if I feel like I need to, but I'll see how it all works out once it starts drying. So if you found this video helpful or informative, please share and like the video. If you like this sort of content, then subscribe if you're not already subscribed. There's a little bell button beside the subscribe button on my channel, and that'll give you occasional notifications if you want to know when I'm live streaming or when I put a new video up. If you want to know any of the materials and tools that I used, that is down in the description. You'll be able to find that pretty easily. It's not too hard to find. Right down there, I've got all the tools and materials listed, so you can make this sort of thing yourself. And on top of that, if you want to support my channel, hey, look, watch my videos is a good way to support my channel. Otherwise, down in the description there's affiliate links. I get a small commission, you pay the same price, and you can buy stuff online. It's real simple. What's that? Is it Trevor Key? Thank you for teaching me how to play D&D. You are welcome. I hope Trevor Kerr. Hopefully I got your name right. If I haven't, I apologise. You are welcome. This is why I'm here, is to try and help people learn how to play the game. And if I got you further along that pathway, that's excellent. I started playing a couple of weeks ago, and I play with Lego. Yeah, absolutely. Use Lego. Why not? It's a good idea. Excellent. So I'm going to sign off and say bye to everybody. I will be back. I don't know if I'll necessarily stream tomorrow, but we'll certainly see something come up at some point. Until next time, keep rolling those 20s.